So welcome to the Token CEO podcast. So excited you're here. Welcome to Barstool, more importantly. This is a different interview because we have two fabulous new women who are starting. I actually think you two could not be more different, so I'm very excited for this conversation. So why don't we have you introduce yourselves, what you did right before this, and what you're going to do here. So Sydnie, let's start with you.
Okay, so my name is Sydnie Wells. Before I came on to Barstool as the new head of Barstool Outdoors, I was co-host of Relentless Pursuit TV on the Sportsman's Channel and on Tim Wells Bow Hunter YouTube. And I was also the co-host of Viral Outdoors on the Outdoor Channel. So that was more like curating videos, talking about viral videos. Relentless Pursuit was more just like awesome hunts, traveling the world, which is essentially like what now I want to do for Barstool Outdoors. Okay. So like, as you know, everybody knows, like Barstool Outdoors was like more like fishing, I would say. I just am completely gonna like change that atmosphere.
Oh, you are? What are you changing it to?
So
do you not care about fishing?
Oh, I like fishing. I do enjoy fishing. Not as much like saltwater fishing. I like more like lake, like going bass fishing, pan fishing, mostly like crappie and bluegills and all the above. Anyways, so small town country girl. So I'm always on
What's your like favorite outdoors activity?
Bow hunting, 110%.
Okay.
Yes.
With literally like a bow and arrow?
With a bow and arrow. Okay. And like spot and stalking. So getting as close as you can to the animal before like...
murdering it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And who taught you how to do that?
My dad.
Okay.
So I grew up like...
Where are you from?
Since I could walk. So I'm from Illinois.
Really?
Central
Illinois. A lot
Illinois.
of bow hunting in Illinois, or did you guys like get in a pickup truck and drive like several states to do it?
Oh my gosh. So Chicago, because there's a Chicago, okay?
Okay.
And then when you go literally probably like an hour past Chicago, it's all farmland.
Okay.
It's all outdoors people. Everybody likes to be rednecks and do something, fishing, hunting, hiking, whatever it is. Okay. Whatever everybody's niche is. But I love to bow hunt. Okay. I'm in like a booner county where there's big deer everywhere, and that's my favorite thing to do in the whole wide world.
All right. And is there like brands around bow hunting? Like, is there like what's the brand?
Like the brand?
Like, what's the brand of bow you use?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I use a PSC right now.
Okay.
Yes, I use a PSC. I wear like mossy oak camo.
Okay, so there's
There's
I
so
like
much,
mossy oak. They sell mossy oak at Walmart, which I love.
Yes, they do, and it's cheap, and it's
it is cheap. It's actually very cool, and I think it looks good too. I agree.
Yeah.
Don't hunt for shit. All right.
No, that's okay.
Don't own a bow. P.S. whatever.
P.S. whatever.
A bear, but apparently, according to Frankly, you have any cred around here. All right. So Alyssa, tell us about you.
Okay, so you're right, very opposite, which is like so funny. So I'm from the entertainment world, some pop culture stuff. I was a publicist, and then I was an influencer. So I kind of did both for a while. I first started as a publicist, decided I wanted to be an influencer. So I balanced both for 2 years, doing 2 jobs for 2 years, until I reached like 100,000 followers on Instagram, and I was making money. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this full time. I've always wanted to run my own business. So I did it. And I was an influencer. I hosted a podcast. I had my own merch. Basically what you guys do here, but on such a smaller scale. And it wasn't until I started kind of blowing up on TikTok for talking about things that weren't pop culture focused that I had the idea to start a new podcast, which just talks about like female issues and things that like the everyday girl goes through. Like before we started, we were talking about pimples and hormonal acne. And it's like,
it doesn't matter if you kill wild animals or you have a desk job. It's like everyone has acne.
We all have it. So so my new podcast with you guys, Tea with Publicity, is really just like diving into taboo female topics like a female CEO, like women in the workplace, and paving your own path for yourself, or even like a woman in sport and hunting or outdoors. Like everyone just has such a unique story, and that's kind of like what I'm trying to uncover.
All right, I love that. Okay, so what did you guys think about Barstool Sports before you got here? Like, I love this episode because I feel like everyone is like, what a misogynistic company, like hate women, like blah, blah, blah. And here we are with like 2 people who couldn't be more different, but who you're both self-motivated. You've both built careers for yourself. You've both made an impact. You've both caught our eye. And what I love about Barstool is like, you couldn't, like, we're talking about sex, makeup, having a career. You're talking about killing bears and mossy oak and driving a pickup truck. Like, and that's what women are. Like, that's what's so cool about women can be anything they want to be. Obviously, that's my big shtick. But I also think that that's what's about Barstool. Like, I just did this interview. I just did this like Zoom thing, and you know, they were like, well, what's Barstool's agenda and its plan? And I'm like, we don't really have one. we didn't know we were looking for you. We didn't know we were looking for you. Like, we were like, oh, but Sydnie and Alyssa are here. They're so different. They're here at the same time. Let's see what they can do. And that's kind of, I think, the magic of it. So what did you think about Barstool before you got here? Like, and how'd you get introduced to it?
Okay, so I've been following Barstool Sports for the longest time. Like, I mean, college, everybody has their Barstool. Like, mine was Barstool Dub, not affiliated with Barstool Sports. Like, everybody, like, knows.
Oh, as a social account?
Yeah. I mean, all, like, colleges are always related to it somehow. And so, like, all my girlfriends listen to Call Her Daddy. Like, that's the big thing. So when the tea spilled, like, everybody's on YouTube, like, looking at all of it. And I'm like, oh, I don't really know a lot, but I'm into it. Like, this is so cool. So, I mean, I followed Barstool Outdoors for actually a really long time. Just being in the outdoor industry, everybody kind of knows everybody's page or everybody. And I was, like, so interested. So, obviously, when the position opened up, I jumped on it right away. I'm like, I'm not wasting any time. Like, I know the potential for this. I know what I can bring to the table. I know how awesome I can make it. And so that's why I was just like, okay, I'm shooting an email right now. Like, I want to be a part of this. I don't know every aspect of Barstool Sports, but what I've seen, I've loved. And so coming into the office, like, we talked. We're so different, but, like, we're so also similar.
This has so much common ground.
Yes, like, we can talk about things. I'm like, yes, me too, for sure. Like, I'm a outdoorsy girl, but I'm also a girly girl. Like, I love to go to the city. Like, I love watching The Bachelor. I love all those different aspects. And, like, everybody in the office, like, coming in, I'm intimidated. Like, I'm overwhelmed because this is New York City, and I'm like, country girl in the middle of nowhere. It's like, this is a little intimidating, but, like, coming to the office and, like, all the guys, all the girls are like, hi, I'm so and so, like, what's your story, like, where'd you come from, like, wanting to know me, not just about, like, work. You know what I mean? They actually, like, truly care to, like, get to know me, which is like, okay, cool, I'm in the right place. Like,
except Brandon Walker.
Yeah, except Brandon Walker. No, I like Brandon's awesome. Like, he's followed me for a long time.
So just for anybody watching this, so there was a great viral video. I don't know if it was viral, but I thought it was very funny. It was viral in my little small Thunderdome, which is Brandon Walker was leaving work. I guess it was yesterday. Was it last night? Yeah. Okay. Brandon Walker was leaving work last night, and Brandon Walker's leaving work, and Sydnie is trailing behind him, clearly about to go through the door, and he just lets the door completely bang in her face.
Yeah.
And then Rico was also in the lobby and near the front door, and who was the other person? I don't know who the other person was. Let's pretend it was you, Alyssa. Alyssa was walking towards the door. Rico, like, shuffles out, opens the door chivalrously, like, escorts her out, and then closes the door behind her. But very funny. We should run that video. Okay.
Hilarious.
So, Alyssa, did you think people were welcoming? Like, what did you think? Because it's hard to come into a new job, and it's hard to come into a new job that's so public, and it's hard to, I think there's a lot of pressure around Barstool Sports. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of rumor and intrigue. Like, how did you feel coming in?
So it was a big adjustment for me. Like, I was more concerned about, I've been working for myself, and now I'm back to being around, like, people and working in an office. So that alone was, like, a pill to swallow for me. But then coming in, my biggest fear, I would say, was that the women wouldn't be accepting, because I worked with the cattiest women. I lived Devil Wears Prada. Like, that was my life. And so I've seen it all, and I didn't know what to expect. So I'm thinking, there's not many women, maybe the ones that maybe they're cliquey. It couldn't have been more opposite. Like, everyone, same thing as you said, came up, introduced themselves to me. A lot of the men did, a lot of the women did. And instantly I was like, okay, like, this is a cool environment. The way I describe it is everyone's down to earth. Like, it was just very chill, very comfortable. I felt like to this day, I don't feel nervous going up to someone and being like, hey, what do you run? Like, could you help me figure this out? Like, I feel like I'm just going up to everyone, asking them questions, just trying to figure things out, because it's the best way to learn. And I mean, I think it's been great so far. And same thing, I knew Barstool from college. So
how do you think, like, you guys are, how do you think about this? So, Alyssa, you're in a very crowded space. Like, everyone and their fucking mother, like, literally that, like, Catholic lady that's on OnlyFans that got her kids kicked out of school. Like, shout out to that mom. But anyways, like, everyone and their mother wants to be an influencer. You're in a very crowded category. Beauty is very, very cutthroat. So how do you think about standing out? And then Sydnie, you're kind of a lone wolf, where I think women are kind of tokenized in your world, where, like, I see it in sports betting too. Like, I was having a conversation this morning, and one of the Penn guys was saying to me of, like, all of our competitors have, like, and he paused, and I'm like, a hot woman like hosting their show. Like that's what they do. They don't have real people who bet, so they're just going to put a very pretty girl in front of the camera and have her carry the weight because guys like to look at pretty girls. So my question for you is a little bit different. It's how do you, Alyssa, stand out in a category that's so cluttered? And then how do you, Sydnie, be one of few females rising up in a category that's not really thought about as feminine? So Alyssa, you go first.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question. And it's so true. Like the influencer space is so crowded and there's so many people trying to do the same things. But my thing is, I never felt like I fit that mold, which is why I kind of like Barstool, because I was joking today. I'm like, I feel like we're all kind of just misfits.
100%. I use that word all the time.
And that's how I was. Like I was the girl getting C's and D's in high school who, not because I wasn't smart, but just I was just different. I'm more creative. And then I succeeded in the business world. So I feel like I've never fit the mold. And I would go to these fashion week events with these girls and they would have their noses turned up. And when I was hosting my own podcast, my initial concept was I'm going to interview entrepreneurs, influencers, and reality stars. I couldn't get a big named influencer on my podcast to save my life, but I would get Spencer Pratt to respond or whoever. And it's like, if it was this numbers game, if you had less followers, they would never help you out. And I'm not like that. Like, I'm just like, let's all help each other. It's just not the vibe. So for me, although I'm like in that category, I've just tried to be myself. And I think that's why I saw success on TikTok, just talking about realistic, relatable things and not being so, they all try to be aspirational versus relatable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like, I'm just trying to be myself versus like, you can't touch
what
me.
somebody else thinks I should be.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. What about you, Sid?
So I'm in a very big male dominated world. And I think it kind of helped. Like I did have like my dad was a great father figure for that aspect. Like kind of was making sure that if I educated somebody, I knew what the heck I was talking about. And I think that's like growing up into my own person. It's like I really found my niche and I really found like I am not going to speak out about something that I don't really know about and like present myself in a good way. So I think learning about the outdoors and like being able to really like get myself out there and talk to people and try to learn more about certain things. Like if I'm bow fishing or bow hunting or I'm shooting like waterfowl, there's always something new to learn. And I just really like presenting myself in that positive way. Like I don't know absolutely everything. I'm only 23. There's so much more to learn. But I can show like I'm a very diverse woman and like I'm actually like legit and I know what the hell I am.
You're like, I know my shit.
Yeah. So like I don't depend on anybody.
Yeah.
Like I can take my bow and arrow and go out into the woods by myself and grind and absolutely like do the best I can possibly be. Like I spent 95 days in the woods this year just trying to kill a giant buck. Like that's a difference. Like there's like a big mature buck and there's like a buck that you can kill that's like 2 years old and it's not as smart. I went after it, shot a giant.
You're like, forget the non-smart 2-year-olds.
Exactly.
You're like, I'm big game hunting. Okay.
No, exactly. So like just proving myself in that aspect is like I am so diversified in everything and I have accomplished a lot in short time. So I think that's where I get a lot of respect as well. And like I want to show people that I do love it. I don't do it for the wrong reasons, which I feel like a lot of people have seen that. So
so they relate to you. So both of you are like into relatability, which I love. I think that that's what makes, like I did an interview yesterday on Pink Whitney and the reporter was like, well, what about The Rock and what about Ryan Reynolds and what about this, that, and the other person? And I'm like, the difference is that you don't feel like you know The Rock. You might be obsessed with The Rock. You might love his movies. You may have loved him with WWE, but you don't feel like you know the inner thoughts of The Rock. Same with Ryan Reynolds. He's an actor. Like you love him in the movie. You think he's hot, whatever. Biz and Wit, you feel like if you love hockey and you listen to Spit and Chicklets, you know Paul Bissonnette and you know Ryan Whitney, and the relatability is just so clutch in getting people to respond and to feel like they're part of something. And I think that's it's kind of like there was celebrity and then there was influence. Like I don't think the influencers are highly relatable. I actually think they're alienating. Like who's the Ariel, what's her name, like
Charnis.
Right, yeah. So like when she was like everyone had COVID and she's like doing a branded entertainment ad for a handbag when she gets the like early test about COVID. I forget what she did, but remember she like pissed people off royally.
Yeah.
What did she do?
She fled to the Hamptons.
She fled to the Hamptons.
After testing positive for COVID.
After testing positive for COVID, and then did like an ad in her car as her like designer doctor came and like checked her out or whatever. But it was so unrelatable where everyone was stuck at home and afraid. And do we have this pandemic? And do I have COVID? And is my house safe? And my world safe? Am I going to have a job? Like, I think that there's the influence, while pretty to look at, and I think an unwitting byproduct of Instagram. I think Instagram really birthed the influencer. I think there's something new happening. Like if you look at Clubhouse, like Clubhouse is about authenticity. It's about, do you have a brain? Do you have a conversation? Can you moderate a conversation? Like those are very different skills. Are there any women in the outdoor space? Like, do you have a hero? Do you have like a woman? Is there a badass woman hunter out there? I don't even know.
I've never got that question before.
Oh, really?
So like, honestly, no. I mean,
okay,
there's
so that's
some
cool.
There's some girls out there that I feel like are badasses. Like you can tell the difference between somebody who's doing it for the wrong reasons and doing it because they love it and like they know what they're doing. So there is some women out there that I'm like really appreciative.
So wait, is the wrong reasons like when you have the guy that you're with kill the like big stinking butt and then you get in your bikini and you like take a picture next to it?
Like wrong. Or like you just kind of like use a filter, or you're just like not use a filter, I should say. Like you go out there and you're like holding your bow just so you can get some like hype or some people to comment, or like you're just trying.
You're not actually hunting.
You're not actually enjoying it, or you don't do it because you love it. You do it for like the fame,
the look. Okay.
Yeah, you know. But there is a lot of badass women out there too that actually do love it and they're beautiful, which is so awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's cool. You could be you can be somebody's hero. That's awesome.
Yeah. No.
And what about you, Alyssa?
So I was thinking.
You're like, I know I'm going to get this question.
Yeah,
I hate when people ask me that question. I'm like, I don't have a good answer.
It's, you know what it is for me? I'm just a consumer of pop culture in general. Like, I watch all the reality shows. I consume TikTok. I consume every kind of media. And for me, it's not that there's a specific person, but there's a specific type of content that makes me feel understood and less alone. And that's when people are being vulnerable. So when I'm listening to a podcast and someone's opening up about anxiety or mental health, or when someone's talking about body positivity or whatever it may be, like that makes me feel like, oh, I want more of this. So I'm just like, what could I do to also be that person for someone else? So it's just like I draw inspiration from like different people, but it really is all like the same people that are just being open and themselves and like unapologetically themselves and talking about things that might be tough. But I don't know, I think it's really cool to be vulnerable.
It's kind of like you're like inspired by like other people, and that's how you kind of want to be.
Yeah,
that's how I feel too.
And I also want to be reachable for my followers. Like you were talking about, influencers, you can't touch them, and I've never wanted that. I answer so many of my DMs.
Yeah,
like
you gotta.
Now there's a lot, but I really answer like a lot of them, and my followers will write back and be like, "Wow, you answered. Thank you so much. I appreciate it." And because to me, it goes a step beyond just like, I'm not pretending. Like, I want to actually connect with people because that's important to me. Yeah. So
what do you think about being good girls? Like, what do you like? One of the things that I think is interesting is like, I was never public before I came to Barstool. I didn't really want to be public. Here I am now public and positioned as a heel a lot of times and a villain, and which is weird for me because I don't feel like that in who I am. And I don't think I'm evil, but also biased. But how do you feel? Like, do you guys feel pressure to be not perfect but good? Do you know what I mean? And how do you think about that? And how are you preparing yourself? Like, one of the things that is going to happen to you here is when women come to Barstool, there is, a very visceral, great reaction. And then there's the assholes who crawl into your DMs and they're going to call you cunts and every other word imaginable and tell you you're fat and tell you you're ugly and tell you your nose looks too big. Or like they tell me that I look like the guy from Mask. That's my favorite comment ever. Oh my God. No, you guys are probably too young for that movie, and do you know the movie Mask?
Mm-mm.
No, neither one of you do. Let's be honest. It's okay. Don't pretend. So how are you? How are you preparing how do you think about being good? What do you think is good and perfect? How do you think about that? And then 2 is how.
So I have an answer. If you,
okay, great. And so then my second question is, how are you going to steel yourself against the internet?
So about the good thing, it's actually funny because I feel like a lot of the girls here aren't like, quote, good. They talk about getting high and having sex. And it's funny because like I come from
Sin is
such
a great strategy.
Yeah, I know, seriously. I come from such like an Italian family that it's very much like, don't say things, you know, you'll embarrass the family. And of course, like I do, like I say enough without like pushing the button, you know, I'm going to be myself at the end of the day. I'm an adult. But I think that's just so rooted in me that like I want men to take me seriously. Like I don't want them to think they could sleep with me on the first date. Like I'm just not that type of person. So for me, it's like I'm like innately kind of like the good girl, but I'm also like super carefree and spontaneous. So it's kind of like straddling that line between like giving a lot without giving too much, which I'm comfortable with because I kind of am an open book. But it's not like I'm doing anything that wild anyway.
Right,
so,
right. Yeah. Which I think is okay too. Like what I like about you, Alyssa, is it's, you know, I think Alex Cooper is a good girl, to be honest with you. At her core, Alex Cooper, I think, is a good girl. And I think, but she's so extreme, right? And she's so flamboyant and she understands the edge very well. And you don't have to assume anybody's mantle, right? Today you want to talk about, we're talking about like breakouts when you have your period. Then tomorrow you're going to be talking about makeup. And the day after you're going to talk about being your own boss. And the day after that you're going to talk about a relationship. And the day after that you're going to talk about your mother. Like, and that's kind of, I think, what a regular woman is thinking about. What do you think?
So this is like a really good question because like just coming in is like I've been very cautious about, I've always posted what I've said, even like foul language. Like my parents, like big Christian family, like I love them so much, but it's also like I have that pressure, kind of similar to what you're saying, and it's like the pressure on like the family too. It's like don't overstep that boundary. But like I guess what I'm saying, like I am like the good girl too, but like I like a lot of my friends like consider me that, but I still like have that like wild like fun side that I am very kind of private about as well. But like just being in the office too, I feel like around carefree people as well that don't really give a crap about what anybody thinks, which is what I need. Because like I do, like talking about anxiety, like I have anxiety, like everybody has anxiety, we deal with it, like especially like people on like online. The biggest thing is like with the people that are going to come at me. People are going to come at me. That's just how it is. Like I told my mom, stop reading the comments.
Don't read the comments.
Mom, stop. She like circles them. Like, look, what? I mean, that's the biggest thing is like just staying true to myself. And like I have a big relationship with God too. So like that's just me. That's just how I feel. And like I have this mentality like that I don't really give a crap what you have to say about me. Like I'm going to stay positive. Your negative behavior, like it doesn't have anything to do with anything. I mean, yeah, you're going to be negative, but I have 99% of people that are positive towards it. And I'm obviously doing something right if you're going to be an asshole and say something that's not even true. So that's how I kind of feel. I'm going to keep doing being myself, do things that I want to do. Also, I'm 23, so my mom and dad need to settle down a little bit.
That's all right.
But no, that's just how I feel.
I have a large DM relationship with the parents of people at Barstool Sports.
Oh, no way. They're literally amazing people, but they also like...
No, there becomes some times when you need to have a DM relationship with the parents.
The hate for me, it's like... So I've been an influencer. I've gotten some hate, but not much. Like my audience... It's so funny, Erika, because like when I first announced I was working here, the men are like, "What's she doing here?" And then the people DMing me were like, "I'm sobbing listening to your first episode." Like it's night and day.
It's just different.
No, it's just great. Especially
it's
like
so
that following. Like I've had a good following before I came on, and that's like people are always like, how do you deal with the hate? Like Gaz was like, so what are you gonna do? I'm like, one, a lot of people don't understand conservation and hunting, so like just like an education piece, and also like my followers are so kick-ass that one negative comment they're attacking them for me. So it's like I don't even really worry about it, and then if they do, I just block them or restrict them. I don't really care. I don't have time to argue with you. I'm not gonna be like, well, this is how I feel. No, I'll just delete it. I don't really care. Like whatever you say doesn't hurt me. You're just going away.
See, I want to clap back. I'm one of those people.
But then I'm like,
but it's okay.
I remember when we did, it's kind of interesting when Gaz and I used to have new people start, we had this like agreement, Gaz and I, of like, you need to tell the woman to go look in her past for any nudes or whatever she doesn't want. Like somebody like eye to eye needs to have this conversation with the woman. I don't know if we're still doing that. Did we ask you guys that?
No.
Okay, well, so that's a good thing. We've evolved.
She's like,
or you're out on your own.
No, but
go
I already
delete
knew
your
to do
nudes.
it.
Yeah, go delete your nudes. And then I was like, God, gals, I wish somebody told that to me before I came here. Obviously, I didn't have any nudes, so nobody cared. But
well, I was like, while you're thinking about that, like I thought it was badass, like having a CEO, a woman like coming on. Like I remember talking to Gaz. I was like, it just like makes us more confident. I feel like just like showing how like when Dave hired you, never try to change you. Like,
totally. Yeah.
That's the thing. Like I saw that too. Like as like an entrepreneur, as a young age too. I guess like I was thinking about the same thing. Like I'm not gonna be my own boss, but like seeing how Dave had the confidence of bringing you on as like a woman in a male-dominated area and was never like, Erika, you need to do this and this and this. It's like you're your own person. Everybody appreciates you for how you are, and like that gives me the confidence to come onto Barstool and be like, I can do whatever I want because they're gonna just like
embrace me for who I am.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I think that's what's actually great. Like I think what's so interesting, and I think that's the nuance that people don't get, which is this place actually is very free.
Yeah.
It is completely a collection of misfit toys.
Yeah.
100%.
And that's the chemistry that lets, that I don't think any other media company would have you two here with me ever. Like it just doesn't work that way. So I think that those things are important. I also think, the hate is part of what makes it work. And I agree with you. I think as women and young women in particular, like you have to steel yourself against it because it's just human nature. And it happens even to me, it happens to me all the time where you have one person who's like, you fucking suck. And you only think about that one comment versus the 1,000 others that were like, go, it's great. I remember when we were starting to work with a well-known CEO who also is a media personality. And Dave and I were laughing because he responded to every mention he got, including all of the mentions that criticized him. And Dave and I were like, how the fuck do you have any time to do anything else in your day if you're going to respond to every person who criticizes you and loves you? It's so dumb. It's like such a horrible use of time. Like there's no end to it.
It's like, don't feed the negativity.
But it's also like, shouldn't you go be running your company? But whatever. But I think that's also, so long as you can tune it out or ignore it. And it also changes over time. And you guys are going to find this, which is you're early in your careers, whereby you're going to change. Like when I look at the women here, I look at Rhea 4 years ago versus Rhea now. Like Rhea would never have made a podcast about being high 4 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And now that's where Rhea's head is at. And I think that that's also what's so cool about this journey is you're seeing people grow up, or you're seeing people evolve, and you're seeing people change, and that's just life. Okay. What is the biggest thing that you want people to look out for here from you?
So I'll talk. So for me, obviously the podcast is like my baby, what I'm trying to grow. Just talking about taboo female topics, tea with publicity. But there's also a lot. I come from the business side too. So I had a really cool meeting with sales today, and we were talking about influencer marketing. And
those salespeople love you.
Yeah, I'm talking to everyone.
Everyone be like Alyssa. And I was like, I get it.
Because I'm in a unique spot where I've worked on both ends, every end of the industry, working on the PR side, working on the influencer marketing. So I would love to take more of like a female leadership role too, and being like, okay, let's revamp this. How could we make this more appealing for women? And for me, that's like kind of something I didn't even know I was like passionate about until now, like week 1, I'm like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, that happens too here where you're like, I've created another job for myself.
Yeah. And I kept telling you, I'm like, when I was going through the process, I was like, I will have my hands in a lot because that's just who I am. I'm entrepreneurial. So I'm doing now a social series where I just like spill the tea, 1-minute little pop culture clips, spilling the tea on different topics. So looking to really own that, kind of like the female version of 1 Minute Man.
Yeah, great.
And who knows what else I'm going to be doing.
No, that's awesome. Good for you.
And what about you, Sid? You've been here 2 days, so
2
we'll
days.
give you a little slack on that.
No, so like everybody knows, well, not everybody, but a lot of people know like Barstool Outdoors there's so much potential there. I mean, the only thing that like there hasn't been a lot to do. So like me coming in, podcast, definitely want to do that. But first, like I'm flying home tomorrow, and I fly to Texas Friday. Like I'm starting.
What are we doing in Texas?
Ground running. I'm gonna go snow goose hunting. So
okay, great.
Yeah,
Love it.
yeah. No, I'm gonna be doing a bunch of stuff. I went to
Is
a lot
it
of
snow goose season?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like conservation season. So there's so much to be learned. Like
all right, tell what's conservation season with the snow geese?
Okay, so I mean,
and why would you kill them during this period?
Okay, so like there's like the seasons. So like this is like snow goose season.
Yeah.
And then in a couple months it's turkey season. People are obsessed with turkey season.
I hate turkeys.
Okay, well, people are obsessed, so they're trying to.
Okay,
get
I would help you kill a turkey.
Yeah, so hey, I'm gonna go on a I'm gonna go on a turkey tour.
Great, I'm all in on that.
All right, we're gonna do it.
But
they are
fun.
nasty and large.
I go hunting.
I wanted to have so many people in the office. Like I'm in such a unique role that like I'm such like I stick out like a sore thumb.
Bring all the girls hunting.
I want everybody to try. If you're interested, if you're not, it's okay. But I want everybody to come on board and come with me and like do something crazy.
That's great.
Because I think that'd be great. But my biggest thing, I want to collaborate with a bunch of people. Like I have so many friends. I have so many people that I know that would love, like, for example, like Bo Jackson's like a badass like fisherman. Like people don't know that, and he's like one of the world's like greatest athletes.
Dion is a good fisherman. Do
so
you know that?
I heard that too. So like just people like that, and there's some like Hannah Barron is a badass in the hunting industry as well, and she does like noodling with like catfish. So it's like I want to go beyond fishing. That's my biggest thing.
Okay, let's go. That sounds great.
Oh, it's going to be great. You guys are going to have your mind blown. I'm excited.
I can't wait.
I'm going to learn so much because
what do you kill the snow geese with? A bow and arrow? I don't mean to be rude on. Oh, a
no,
gun.
Your gun. Yeah, a gun.
Are you a good shot?
Yeah. But I will tell you, like snow geese, like I'm not an expert in that. Like that's something like my friends like teach me more about.
Okay,
but, like,
that's cool. Are they tough?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
But my niche is, like I said, bow hunting.
What kind of gun?
A Benelli 12 gauge.
Okay. I shot my first gun last year. I loved it.
Really? Yeah. Shoot like trap or something, like clay pigeons?
I shot targets.
Okay. Yeah. No, it just gives you like a sense of like, okay, I know how to handle this.
Once you can figure out the kick and not get scared of the kick, it's a great thing.
No, I feel like everybody should just like try to like learn how to shoot a gun. Just, I mean, in general. And then it gives you like less scary. Some people like have guns on the table. They're like scared of it. Just being able to learn how to actually
control it and handle it and
like properly. Yeah, yes, exactly.
I agree with that. Okay. Mm-hmm. Have you guys watched A Promising Young Woman?
Kelly told me about that.
You have to watch it
on Amazon, right?
Every woman needs to watch this movie. Okay. Truly, you need to watch it. It is going to blow your mind about women and about men. It's such a good revenge movie. It's incredible.
I'm going to watch it.
You have to watch it. It's important to me that you watch it.
Okay.
I don't want, like, it's important for you to watch it. All right. Tell me one thing I can do to best support you here.
Okay, let me think about this. This is like a spur of the moment.
I know.
Best support me.
Last minute question.
I think just... for me, it's about like merging our audiences. So just getting more eyeballs on my content, because I feel like once people find my content, I'm confident they'll like it. So it's just, for me, just, having Barstool support and supporting me and promoting my show, and just, I don't know, there's just being a female leader. It's cool to have like a female in the office that's someone that we could look at as an example. And it's just really nice to feel so welcome. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. What do you guys?
For me, I think like since the outdoor industry is kind of controversial sometimes with other people, especially the Barstool audience, it's a completely different audience than I'm used to. So I think that like everybody needs to be aware too, like in the office, like there is going to be some hate coming at me and what I'm doing. So I think just having your trust in me and what I'm doing and like the support, just like if people are coming at me, like the support by everybody in the office, like Sydnie knows what she's doing and she's good at it. And like we have her, we trust her, and also keep me in the loop. Like I'm not going to be here. So like I will be here and there, but I want to be in the loop still. Like I want to be with like a part of everything that's going on in the office. So I think that's super important to me because I still want to have these relationships with everybody, even though I'm not going to be here. Yeah. So
I think those are great things. I love that. We will always have your back.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
Always have your back. All right. Welcome, you guys. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you so much.
That was good, huh?